is it my imagination, or did Dollar Tree turn up the volume and come up with some really cute things to craft with in their coastal aisle this year? I'm telling you what, I was blown away, and it may not be my style, it may not be my vibe, but I'm here to tell you right now, it got my creative juices to flowing. So come craft with me. I snagged this seashell wire wreath form at the Dollar Tree before it sold out because I thought it was absolutely darling. And then I took a sponge brush and I covered it in the Waverly chalk paint in the color Pool. I thought it was so cool and breezy and just an absolutely beautiful color to cover this. It took 2 coats to cover this really good, and I just did it on the one side, but this is an absolutely beautiful color. And I thought this wreath form was just darling. I had kind of walked by it, and then I don't know, it just kind of spoke to me, and it really got my creative juices flowing. And I thought it had so many possibilities. I had seen this burlap fabric with the starfish and all of the beautiful colors, and they had some in the stripes and the fish scales, and I thought that the Dollar Tree had absolutely outdone itself with the coastal themed burlap, painted burlap this year. And so I cut what I needed, and then I just started hot gluing this burlap to this wire wreath form. And I thought it would make an absolutely adorable backdrop to this wreath form frame. And I picked out this starfish because it went with the decor that I had done and already had kind of going in my my bathroom. It is the one room that I have in a coastal theme. That kind of happened by accident, but it's the one room that I have done in a coastal theme. So the starfish kind of sang to me, and I just thought the colors were absolutely delightful. You're gonna have to kind of forgive my head. It got in the way. I was kind of all over the place with this with this project. My head was here and there, and I was all over the table and just everywhere. So once I got it hot glued onto the frame, I just took my scissors and I trimmed all around the excess burlap. I just kind of trimmed with my scissors all around the wreath form and got all of that extra burlap off. I didn't make sure it was nice and even, and everything was cut off because I will trim this out, and so I didn't need to make sure every single inch of burlap was not showing, and I didn't get all fussy with it. So I just made sure that it was as close as possible, and just trimmed it with my scissors as best as I could. I picked up some nautical rope, picked up the white. I thought it was so beautiful and coastal, and it's so easy to work with. It's just pliable, and I don't know, it's soft, and I love this white nautical rope. It's just gorgeous. And so I just took my hot glue gun and put it on the wire form and just put this nautical rope all around the wreath form. And then I had picked up this beautiful anchor that they had at the Dollar Tree. They had just got some gorgeous things in this year, and I hot glued this beautiful white anchor. They had it in red and blue, kind of a navy blue and the red and a white, and I picked up the white one, and then I hot glued it to this gorgeous seashell. I thought it was gorgeous coming out. I took the extra burlap fabric, because waste not, want not. And then I just started cutting it into strips because I thought I needed a little bit of a embellishment, a bow. So I just kind of cut them into strips, and then I took my nautical rope and I just kind of started unwinding it and kind of unfraying it with my fingers. And I just decided to make a little bit of a messy bow. I had some twine, and once I had all of my pieces kind of frayed out a little bit, I tied it off in the middle, and then I just started fraying it and just kind of unwinding it, and then just trimming it the size that I wanted with my fingers, and then clipping it with my scissors, and just kind of arranging it with my fingers as I went, and kind of fluffing it out, and just unwinding it and fraying it as I went. And it just made the most beautiful, messy little bow. And some of the pieces I left a little bit chunkier than others, and then some I just kind of frayed out into tiny little pieces. And then when I was done, I just hot glued that to the end of my wreath form, and there I was done. I thought it needed a little bit of something, and I had picked up this little pack of starfish. So I took one of them out, and I just took it and I hot glued it to the top of this little rope. And then so simple, it was done. I put a little piece of twine on the back to hang this up, and it was just a very simple project, but oh so very cute. And I will be just delighted to hang this up. For my second project, I always save the boxes and the lids to all these little Dollar Tree boxes that you get, and then I'll use the boxes, but I always have these little random lids laying around. So I took some masking tape and I put over the inside of the box lid, and then I took some spackling and I just kind of covered in the top, and I just let that dry, and then made sure it was all covered in really good. And I just kept, covering it in with spackle, and I just laid my spackle in just kind of gradually. I didn't want to pack it in, but just kind of gradually just laid it in. And then when it was done, I just kind of took a little bit of a kind of a fine grit sanding block that I had picked up at Harbor Freight. And after it was drying, I just kind of gently sanded that. And I always say these box lids, I find them so handy for a lot of little different projects, and they make the cutest little signs. I had some white Waverly chalk paint, and I decided after I'd sand that, and I don't have footage of that, I'm sorry, but I decided to go ahead and paint these lids with the white Waverly chalk paint, and I gave it 2 good coats of the white Waverly chalk paint. And I thought that these lids would make really cute little signs. I've used them for all sorts of things. I'll put them up against the little standing signs that Dollar Tree has, and kind of make like a picture back. And because the boxes are really good for all sorts of things, and then these lids are like just kind of randomly hanging around my craft stash, and I use them for these kind of projects here, and I'll use them for pictures, picture hangers, or all kinds of things. Waste not, want not. I use them, So I had some leftover fabric, and so I just cut it to size and kind of frayed the ends a little bit, and made it look, a little bit weathered and worn. Once I had it, the size that I wanted. It didn't need to be a little bit perfect, it needed to look a little bit weathered and worn and burlappy. And so once I had it the way I thought it needed to look, then I just kind of took my hot glue gun and I just hot glued that onto the top of this little lid. and it just, I used my finger protectors. I did, because I didn't want to burn myself on this project. Using burlap, sometimes I have learned my lesson a time or two. I have some pretty good calluses from the hot glue gun. And, but I went ahead and just kind of patted my hot glue down and made sure that was really on there good and tight. And then I took my sand dollar that I had bought at the Dollar Tree. These are so cute. And took my hot glue gun, and then I just put that right in the middle. It was so simple. It was just an easy project, but it had a lot of impact. And then I just took my leftover fabric again that I had cut the side off and cinched it up in the middle with some twine and fluffed that out really good and just made a little bow out of it and kind of hot glued that down to the side. I took some nautical rope that I had left over from another project, and I hot glued the end, end over end, and kind of made a loop in the top. And that way I can sit this up on a countertop and let it be a standing sign, or I can hang it up and let it be a hanging sign. That way I have a couple of different options if I kind of want to rearrange it. I did the same thing with the second little box top that I had, and I would definitely, if you see those little boxes, those little square boxes at the Dollar Tree, I would grab 2 or 3 and just throw them in your craft stash, because you can do so much with those little boxes. I'm telling you, they are just a little treasure trove to have hanging around in your stash. But I just did the same thing. I cut some fabric and kind of sized it the way I wanted it to. This, kind of lapped it over it a little bit. I had my leftover starfish, and then I just hot glued it onto the center. I made a knot out of the top of this rope, and just for a little bit different look. Once again, I can let this stand or I can hang this up. Either way. And there it is. It's finished. In one room or your entire house, it is worth checking out the Dollar Tree and just kind of standing there in the aisle and see what they have, and just letting your creative juices flow and just kind of letting your imagination run wild. It is definitely worth the trip. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so that you know when I've uploaded my next video, and give me a thumbs up. And thank you for watching Crafts, Laughs, and Chaos.